Good morning, students. We have started the revision of life processes chapter. Already we have discussed brief introduction of the chapter and certain questions also in the last class. Let us continue with the other in-text questions. Why is it necessary to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in mammals and birds? Mammals and birds are homeothermic or warm-blooded or endothermic animals. Their body temperature is maintained constant, so only they are called homeothermic animals. And they do not depend on their environment in order to keep their body warm. The needed temperature for their body is generated from within their body itself. Endo means inside, thermic means having temperature. The temperature is present from within inside the body, because the needed temperature to keep their body warm is generated from within the inside of the body, from each and every cell. How the temperature is generated? Because their efficient cellular respiration, which generates sufficient energy to keep their body warm as well as to maintain their metabolism. Cellular respiration generates energy. This energy is utilized both to keep the body temperature warm as well as to maintain the body metabolic activities in birds and mammals. The efficient cellular respiration, it is possible because of the supply of enough amount of oxygen which is needed for the oxidation of glucose in their cellular respiration. So if enough amount of oxygen is supplied, enough rate of cellular respiration is carried out. The supply of enough amount of oxygen will be possible only if the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood are kept separate. So if the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood are kept separate, then only the enough amount of oxygen will be supplied to the cells. Next question. What are the components of transport system in highly organized plants? Angiosperms, or the flowering plants, are the highly organized plants in the plant kingdom. The main components of the transport system in these plants are two types of vascular or conducting tissues. They are xylem and phloem. And each of these tissues are made up of four components, which you have learnt in class 9th itself. The xylem is made up of four components. They are vessels, tracheids, xylem fibers, and xylem parenchyma. The major conducting elements of xylem are vessels and tracheids. In the same way, phloem is made up of four components. They are CU tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchyma. So phloem is made up of four components. They are CU tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers, and phloem parenchyma. And the major conducting elements of phloem are CU tubes and companion cells. How are water and minerals transported in plants? How are water and minerals transported in plants? A continuous system of water conducting channels is formed by the interconnection of vessels and tracheids of roots, stem, and leaves. So, in every part, the xylem is present. In xylem, as we said, 4 components are there, but the main conducting elements are vessels and tracheids. The vessels and tracheids of root, stem, and leaves, they are interconnected and form a continuous system of water conducting channels. This system makes water and minerals to be reached all parts of the plant. But how does this transportation takes place? How the water is absorbed and how it is getting transported? Initially, means in the starting, the root cells, that is the root hairs, they take up the mineral ions from their surrounding soil in active transport method. There are 2 types of transport methods in plants or in any living organisms. They are passive transport and active transport. Passive transport is the transport wherein energy is not spent for the transport of molecules across the membranes. Active transport is the transport wherein the transport of molecules is needed, the spending of energy, because generally by active transport method the molecules will move against the concentration gradient, means from their lower concentration to their higher concentration the molecules will move, that is against the concentration gradient. Okay, so initially the root cells or the root hairs, they take up mineral ions from their surrounding soil in active transport method, that is by spending energy. When the mineral ions move inside the root cells, this creates a lower solute concentration in the soil. Lower the solute concentration, higher the water concentration. Okay, remember, when solute is lower in water, automatically the free water concentration increases. So, when mineral ions are taken up by the root cells, what does it creating? It creates a lower solute concentration in the surrounding soil of the root cells. That means higher water concentration is created in the soil. Because of this, what will happen? The water enters into the roots. Then water diffuses into the root cells. With the steady movement of water into the root xylem, from the soil, a water column is created at the bottom of the roots. This water column is pushed upwards because of the root pressure. But alone with root pressure, water cannot move upwards in the xylem to the highest points of the plant body. Then how does the water move upwards to the highest points of the plant body? Water will be keep getting evaporated through stomata of the leaves. which we know as transpiration. This evaporation of water from the stomata of the leaf creates a suction or pull over the water which is present in the continuous water column of xylem. This suction or pull over the water that is created by the transpiration is known as transpirational pull. Thus, both root pressure and transpirational pull together make the water to move upwards in the continuous column of xylem. But during the daytime, transpirational pull is the major driving force for water transport because transpiration is very active during the daytime. And during night time, the transpiration is not that active. So root pressure is the major driving force. So for the conduct of water and minerals through xylem, what are the major physical forces that are used? Transpirational pull and root pressure. And during the daytime, what is the major driving force for water transport in the xylem? Transpirational pull. During the night time, what is the major force to drive the water transport in the xylem? That is root pressure. Why during the night time root pressure is the major driving force? Because during the night time transpiration is not active. Water molecules in the xylem vessels are attached to each other. Something which is getting attached to each other of the same kind of molecules. That property is known as cohesion. If water molecules are attached with one to each other, then the bond that is present or the property that is present between them is cohesion. When the water molecules attach to the walls of the what? Xylem vessels, then this property is known as adhesion. So by adhesion, water molecules are getting attached to the xylem vessels, and by cohesion, they are attached one to each other. And because of this adhesion and cohesion properties of water molecules, a continuous column in xylem is created. This mechanism of transport of water in plants is known as cohesion tension theory of water transport by transpirational pull. Cohesion tension theory of water transport by transpirational pull. Okay, thank you.